This week I decided I was going to read two different excerpts from Humanistic versus Authoritarian Ethics, and then I'll briefly discuss it afterwards. Authoritarian ethics can be distinguished from humanistic ethics by two criteria, one formal and the other material. Formally, authoritarian ethics denies man's capacity to know what is good or bad. The norm giver is always an authority transcending the individual. Such a system is based not on reason and knowledge, but on all of the authority on the subject's feeling of weakness and dependence. The surrender of decision making to the authority results from the latter's magic power. Its decision cannot and must not be questioned. Materially or according to content, authoritarian ethics answers the question of what is good or bad primarily in terms of the interest of the authority, not the interest of the subject. It is exploitive, although the subject may derive considerable benefits, physical or material, from it. Good, quote unquote, good is that for which one is praised. Bad is that for which one is frowned upon, or punished by social authorities or by the majority of one's fellow man. Indeed, the fear of disapproval and the need for approval seem to be the most powerful and almost exclusive motivation for ethical judgment. This intense emotional pressure prevents the child, and later the adult, from asking critical whether good in a judgment means good for him or good for the authority. The alternatives in this respect become obvious if we consider value judgments with other reference to things. If I say that one car is better than another, it is self-evident that one car is called better because it serves me better than another car. Good or bad refers to the usefulness of the thing has for me. If the owner of a dog considers the dog to be quote unquote good, he refers to certain qualities of the dog which to him are useful, as for instance that he fulfills the owner's need for a watchdog, a hunting dog, or an affectionate pet. A thing is called good if it is good for the person who uses it. With reference to man, the same criterion of value can be used. You see as you're growing up that good versus bad is always what teachers and your parents teach you. It's good for them for you to listen to them. It's good for them for you to follow the rules. And you know that whether you listen to it or not, you're going to have a good or bad result. And sometimes you realize that they're not really looking out for you, but they're looking out for what betters themselves or what makes life easier for them. It's not always bad for someone to tell you what's good or bad, because sometimes they are looking out for your best interest. But there's a very big difference between being authoritative or having authority. And sometimes I think even like in school, those teachers misguide you with what is good or bad, and they do what's good or bad for them and what helps them. So people need to be aware of what is really good or bad, and if you're doing it in a selfish way or an unselfish way. But the thing is, selfishness isn't always bad either. Sometimes you need to do what's right for you and not what's right for others. So I think this whole authoritative it's really kind of confusing, and sometimes you don't know what's good or what's bad, because sometimes good and bad just lose their meaning. So that's my video for this week in From.